Are you wondering how far your money goes when it comes to buying a home in Kansas City? Well, today we're going to show you exactly what you get in Kansas City. We're going to take a look at the Kansas side and the Missouri side, and we're going to look at homes in the 300s and the major price points all the way up to the 3 millions. We're going to start with 369. All right, let's kick it off. Let's go. So we have pulled up here homes up in the Northland in the $300,000 price range, and I think this one at 369 would be a good one to highlight. So we'll pull it up here and show you all the photos so you can get a good idea of what you're looking at in the mid 300s on the Missouri side. On the Missouri side, yes. On the Kansas side is going to be a little less bang for your buck typically than the Missouri side. But this one here is what kind of floor plan do we have, Zach? So we got coming out of the gate, we are a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath coming in at 2,300 square feet. Fully finished. That's 17 on the top floor, and we have 600 in the basement. This is front to back split. Yep, and you can see in the photos here, fairly nice, fairly updated. We've just have laminate countertops, so I don't have granite countertops on this one. But we've got wood spindles. We don't have the wrought iron, so a lot of the basic finishes that you kind of find in this price point. They do have the updated flooring though. Talk a little bit about the area. What the school district are we in? Yeah, so this is the North Kansas City School District, and this property is located pretty much right in the heartland of the Northland, so kind of like right in the middle of everything on the Missouri side north of the river. It's got great access to what I really like about this spot is you're right on that 152 highway, which goes east and west across the Northland. So you can get over to the airport really quick. You're probably 15 minutes from the airport. And then you've got some major shopping areas, like Liberty's got a major shopping area that's real close. You can also go over to the Parkville side and hit like Zona Rosa. And then you're really close to a Costco. So this is where this home is located. It really takes advantage of all these. You've got Hodge Park's just basically catty corner across the highway. So you've just got access to a lot of what the Northland has to offer for $350. Yeah. Can you zoom in on and show the satellite view? So here's the neighborhood, and you can kind of see that close to the highway, might get a little highway noise. It does back to another house behind the house. So, something we hear a lot of times from people is it backs to green space or a big private backyard. This one in particular does not, but all of these homes in this subdivision are going to be in a similar price range. Yeah, funny enough, now that I'm looking at this map, my brother's house, we sold it a year and a half ago, was just right across the street. So, all right. Yeah, it's a good spot. Okay, so that's on the Missouri side, what you get for $369. We're just on Zillow here looking in the 300 to 400 range on the Missouri side. You can kind of see the caliber of the homes that we have pulled up. But let's head over to the Kansas side. Yeah, let's do a direct comparison to that. Okay, we found one that is a comparable floor plan in Shawnee, Kansas, coming in at $375,000. It's also a front to back split, and I'll click to go through all the photos here. Zach can kind of read off the stats, but it is smaller. I think the last one was right around 2,400 square feet. This one's more like 17. Yeah, 17 total. So yeah, quite a bit smaller, and it's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. We still have that 2-car garage on the front, and then you can see in the photos that it's got some of the similar finishes. Probably a little more, it's an older home oak. We still have the wood spindles. Yeah, a little more dated. It doesn't have granite countertops either. It's got the laminate tops. Still a 2-bedroom. You can see it has some blue carpet in here in the master bedroom. Master bath's a little dated. But I mean, all in all, it looks like, a good clean house and in decent condition. Mm-hmm. And this one's just going to be, this one just falls kind of outside of the Johnson County. Like a lot of people are going for Blue Valley. So this one ends up in the DeSoto School District, which is still a phenomenal school district, but just a little bit west of most of Johnson County. Yeah, if we go back to the listing and check out the map, you can kind of see where it is here in relation to the city center. The area that we highlighted is everything south of the river here in Kansas, and this whole Kansas City metro, and then the state line runs right up here to the river. So that is our Kansas area, which is Olathe, Lenexa, Shawnee, Bonner Springs, Baser. All of that is included in the Kansas search that we set up. Yep, this is a nice little neighborhood. Just to the south of this neighborhood, you get a nice little shopping mall with a grocery store and all the stuff you need with great highway access once again. This is close to 7. Shawnee Mission Parkway is a pretty easy road to get going down, which takes you over to 435. and get you all over the city. So pretty good location, just on the west side of Kansas. Yeah, they got the Panasonic plant coming out there, so it's kind of on the rise over there in the DeSoto area. At the $350 price point, you're looking at a solid starter home or smaller family homes in both Kansas and Missouri. On the Kansas side, particularly in areas like Olathe and Shawnee, you'll typically find homes built in the late 90s or early 2000s, around 1,800 to 2,200 square feet, with modern layouts and decent sized yards. These homes usually have good bones and basic updates, though you'll want to refresh some of the finishes. So then you hop over to Missouri and your money stretches a little bit further in terms of like square footage. In places like Lee Summit or even Independence, $350 often get you 2,000 to like 2,400 square feet, but they're slightly older homes. You got the 60s all the way up to the 80s. The big advantage of the Missouri side, however, is the lower property taxes. You might save like almost $1,500 or more annually compared to Kansas. However, you may need to budget a little more for updates and renovations. Okay, now if you're looking for some more space and some newer finishes, let's see what happens when we jump up to the 600 to 650 range. And we'll hop back over to the Missouri side. We're always going to start with the Missouri side and then go to Kansas. This is kind of fun, Max. I've always kind of known this happened, but I've never jumped back and forth. So this is actually having a good time doing this. Yeah, so I see one here that I think is pretty representative of the 615 range. And it is actually over in Woodneath Farms, fairly close to where I live in Liberty School District. We'll click on that there and I'll show you all the photos. We're looking at 4,500 square feet. And as I scan through the photos, Zach can read you some of the stats from the MLS. Yeah, this is a 5-bedroom, a 3 full bath with 2 half baths. It's actually only 6 days on the market, so I bet this puppy goes fast. So a total of 4,500 square feet finished. That's 2,900 up. And then the basement has 1,500 square feet finished. So a nice finished basement. It is a 1.5 stories. So you've got the master on the main. All the other bedrooms are up. And then we've got a 3-car garage. So you can see when you bump up to this price range, you get quite a bit more bang for your buck. A lot of value there. You've got granite and hardwood floors, the real hardwood floors. Yeah, those are gleaming hardwoods. Yeah, it's gleaming hardwoods. Yeah, you said it. And this one is again in the Northland on the Missouri side. And this subdivision, I happen to know, has a great pool. So you've got a lot of amenities. There's parks in the neighborhood. It's super walkable, tons of kids. It's a great community and a great school district. Yeah, big old walkout finished basement. Looks like they even have a movie theater with a projection screen. Typically, if they have that, the projector will be included with the sale of the house. They get a nice covered deck on the back of the house. Oh, can you pull up the map view so we can see what kind of yard they've got? Yeah, let's check that out. I'll get in here. We're right next to the Liberty Triangle, so you've got all the amenities, and shopping is pretty close through Targets and grocery stores. Costco's just down the street. Yeah, so also not a yard that backs to green space, kind of is not the most private yard. It has a little bit of trees in the backyard, so you will have some privacy while you're out on the back deck, but the lots that back to green space are typically the ones that sell quicker and sell for a little bit more of a premium price than the lots that back to another house. 5-bedroom, 5-bath, 4,500 square feet. Not bad. All right, should we hop over to Kansas? Yeah, let's see what we get over there. Let's see what we can get in Kansas for this price. We'll apply those parameters and see what we have here. Yeah, most of it in that range, you can see it leaves out this Kansas City, Kansas area right in here. Are usually a little less expensive homes and not the greatest area. But for that 600 range, you're right in your wheelhouse for good stuff in Overland Park and Olathe, all throughout this area. So if we're looking for one that's representative, we can try and find that 615 range. Here's one at 6.25 that's also a 5-bedroom, 5-bath in Overland Park. Looks like they've made a price reduction, so they started out on the high side. Here's another one that's 5-bedroom, 4-bath, new construction for $634. Only 2,700 square feet though, so you're not going to get that finished basement for that range. I think this one might be a good fit here in Overland Park. It's a little more expensive than that 619 was the last one in Missouri. Usually that's what we'll see is probably maybe 10% more expensive when you go from Missouri to Kansas side. And I think this one is pretty representative. So it's also a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, comparable square footage. I think that Last one was 4,500. This one's 49, so a couple hundred extra square feet. But as we scroll through the pictures here, you got it pulled up? Yeah, 5 bedroom, 4 full bath, 1 half bath, a total of 4,900 square feet, like Max just said, with 3,200 up and 16 finished in the lower level. Again, with the 3-car garage on the front. We are Blue Valley School Districts, which is also the most sought after school district. And it's the best school district in the whole state of Kansas, so you're doing good to land in there. Yeah, a little more dated it looks like. It looks like the house is a little bit older, built in 1998. So a little more age on the house, but I mean, they've made nice updates, you can tell in the pictures. And looks really clean, got good bones, hard surface counters, nice finished basement with a bar, you know, pool table, little billiard table area, just like the last one. Probably not a movie theater, but you know, looks like a pretty nice house. Yep, and you're just on, you're down here in Kansas, you're on the east side of 69 Highway, which is a nice newer highway that kind of cuts right through the middle of Overland Park. To get to some of your big shopping areas over off I-35, you have to travel a little bit, but you've still got a lot of great stuff up here on 135th that's real easy access. So pretty good location, close to the highway, you got all kinds of stuff around you. Let's zoom in and see what kind of yard we're looking at here. Yeah, I've got the yard pulled up on my screen. There you go. And it is private. It is private. I mean, really, not the best backyard for throwing the ball around with the kids, but a really neat backyard for having, a little fire pit and, hangout spot at night with the friends and family. And it's treed, so it does back to green space, which is one of those things that you usually have to pay a little premium for. And covered deck, just like the other one. Yeah, this house was built in 1998, so a little bit older, and that's kind of what those finishes are showing. Yeah, it looks like they have a nice new roof on it, though. So, without going through the seller's disclosure, to me, it looks like it has good bones. Just started out with a little bit older home, so, some of the finishes are reflective of that. Comparable square footage, and just the price range is about 10% more. You'll see that the taxes are a little bit more expensive, too. Apples for apples. We're at $6,600 a year in taxes on this one. And then $1,000 annually for the HOA, which usually comes with some nice amenities. But, all things to consider when you're trying to decide between Kansas and Missouri. All right, so at $650,000, we're stepping into what I call the move up market, where you start seeing significant upgrades in both finishes and space. On the Kansas side, particularly in sought after areas like Overland Park and Leawood, you're looking at homes built within the last 20 years, typically 2,800 to 3,400 square feet. We just showed you an example of 4,500. But these properties often feature gourmet kitchens, quartz countertops, large primary suites, and premium community amenities like pools and walking trails. So cross over into Missouri, and you can get a little bit of more space for your money. We're seeing 4,500 to 5,500 square feet. There's charming areas in the Northland where you can still find some new construction. But you can also, even in the older parts on the Missouri side, you can find charming areas that have a lot more character with some old homes and those tree-lined streets, if that's what you're looking for as well. Usually you're going to save almost, $1,500 to $2,500 annually on taxes. And then a lot of these neighborhoods too at this price point are going to come with those, if they have an HOA, might have those swimming pools, walking trails, maybe even a neighborhood park. What if you're looking for true luxury living though? Yeah. What if we jump up the price range into that $850, $900 range, step it up by another $300, and see what we have there? Let's do it. All right. So digging in here, remove the boundary, go back over to the Missouri side, and we're going to draw that map again. So we'll encompass all of the Missouri side, cross over on the river here, and then we'll go straight down the state line, go down here just south of Grandview, include Loch Lloyd. I don't think we're going to get any houses in there in the 900 range, but we'll be getting close. Go out, clear out the Grain Valley, back up over Liberty, and head just south of Smithville Lake. So that'll be the Kansas City, Missouri metro area, and we'll step up that price range here. We'll take it, put a cap on it, maybe $950, or should we cap it at $1 million? Cap it at $1 million and put the bottom at $900. Yeah, a lot of times with this price point, you're gonna also end up like in golf course communities, like amenities also become a big factor. Maybe you're on a lake property, maybe you're on a small acreage. Right, yeah, the square footage is going to cap out with the price range, and then it's just either going to get really, really nice as the price per square foot's going to go up, or the land is going to become more significant. So you might get on more of an estate-sized lot with a couple of acres, or, like Zach said, more amenities in the community that you're inside of. I like those roof lines. Right at the top of the range, 999 It just cut her 49. The Summit. All right, we are 5 bedrooms, 5 full baths, 1 half bath, a total of 5,700 square feet. That's 35 above grade and 21 below grade. Built in 2007, so we're getting newer. And it is a story and a half. So again, we've got that master on the main floor and the other bedrooms upstairs. And our garage is 3-car garage attached on the front. Blue Springs School District. And our taxes went up just a little with the price. We're at $10,700 a year in taxes. Still less than my taxes. Yeah. Which Liberty does, I will say that usually the taxes are more expensive in Kansas. However, Liberty schools with a Kansas City address can be some of the higher taxes that you'll see in the city, which I just so happen to live in. Yeah, lucky you. Lucky me. This one looks like it has like a little movie theater. Yep, action going too. Backs to green space. How about the amenities in this subdivision, Zach? Yeah, the HOA's coming in at $1,161 a year, and that's clubhouse. You get exercise room. You'll have a play area, park area, the swimming pool. You've got tennis courts. You've got trails. They have fiber available in the neighborhood for the high speed internet. So pretty much have all the bells and whistles right there in the neighborhood. No golf. No lake, but everything else you might want. Yeah, look at that 2-tier covered deck. I mean, that is beautiful. The backyard is tiered as well, so you've got the nice retaining walls, and you've got the walking trail right in your backyard, so you can just head down the hill and hit the walking trail for the subdivision. I'd give me a nice retaining wall there. Yeah, in Kansas City, we have basements, if you're not familiar with Kansas City, so it is really cool when you have that walkout basement, because now you get a second living area that you can entertain and just walk right outside and enjoy those beautiful fall and spring days and even summer nights while you're entertaining. Usually everybody's basement turns into kind of that extra entertaining area or space for the kids. So it's nice when it walks out, especially something like that, to a private backyard. Yeah, we were just down in Texas and they don't have basements, so everybody has their recreation room upstairs, which is kind of weird. But, in Kansas City, the rec room is down the stairs and in the basement, and it's even better if it walks out. So this is a beautiful house, backs to green space. Nice Circle Drive, yeah, it just has that craftsman feel to it, really charming. Yeah, Circle Drive is beautiful. It's cool. So let's see what we can find in this range back over on the Kansas side. Let's flip it over. Let me see here. We'll go in just south of the river again. We'll head down the state line and all the way around. And we'll apply that and see what we come up with. A lot less. Yeah. Yeah, not as big, not as fancy. This one's pretty good size, 975. Yeah, a lot less options. This one here in Baser has got some good size to it. That looks really nice interior. Baser, Kansas is going to be a little less price point than Overland Park. Baser's kind of clear out here. It's kind of like how DeSoto is on the outskirts of Overland Park. The more that you get right in this area, right in the mix, or even down here, is going to be a little more expensive, a little less bang for your buck than out on the outskirts. But let's see if we can find one that's more representative of that last one. If they were going head to head. I don't know, this one kind of pops. Well, that one's in Baser. One in Overland Park. This one's $995. They've cut the price on it. This one's $975 in Olathe, new construction. You can see you're only getting 3,600 square foot. This one's $975. This one is a nice house. Not as impressive as the last one, but I think this will illustrate the point that we're trying to make is, you're stepping down on square footage when you come over to Overland Park relative to a Lee Summit or the Northland. 3714 158. All right. And Water's Edge, Overland Park. Yeah, especially Overland Park. Very sought after area. But yeah, we are 4 beds, 4 baths, 4.5 baths. Total square feet, 4,500 that's 23 up and 21 down. Yeah, reverse ranch. Yeah, reverse story and a half or reverse ranch, which means you still have your main master suite on the main floor and your other bedrooms are actually down. So you are going to get a walkout with this. You're just not going to have that extra space up above. Right, and this is not a floor plan that appeals to everybody. It appeals to a lot of people, but people with smaller kids don't usually like the reverse. And then, if the big basement recreation room is important to you, with the secondary bedrooms being downstairs, that eats up a lot of that square footage downstairs. So something to think about. But this one's relatively new. This is only built in 2021, so you can see how it really looks updated. Yeah, a lot of times we'll see like empty nesters or people whose kids are about to leave the nest laying in a floor plan like this, because you also don't have to heat and cool a whole second story that, after the kids leave, is usually just collecting dust up there. So this is a floor plan that lets you have everything you've had, but just kind of reduce the square footage a little bit. But you can see that it doesn't necessarily reduce the price. Yeah. How about the taxes? How do they compare to the taxes? Here are $11,000. So we're pretty much, we're a lot less square footage, but on par with taxes. And actually our HOA is about $1,700 a year. Okay, so about $700 more on the HOA and about $1,000 more on the tax bill. Yeah, we're still gonna have the clubhouse, exercise room, the party area, play area for the kids, the swimming pool and walking trails. So we're kind of missing the sports courts, but they do include curbside recycling and trash pickup. Hey, there you go. This one does not back to green space. I think if it did, it would be a fair amount more expensive. It might be pushing up over $1 million. It backs to another house, so it doesn't have the really private backyard that the other one had. Nice curb appeal though. It's pretty. Yeah. This one was built in 2021, so nice and newish. A lot newer than the last one we just looked at on the Missouri side, but so you're going to be in that nice new neighborhood too. Looks like they've got a lake nearby, or a pond in the neighborhood. Yeah, pond, walking trails. This is a picture of the clubhouse during the winter, so the pool is not in use, of course, right now, but a really nice clubhouse. So it does come with some really good amenities for that $1,700 bill. Okay, since we've stepped it up to that $900,000 to $1 million range, we're firmly in luxury territory now, and the differences between Kansas and Missouri become even more pronounced. On the Kansas side, particularly in the prestigious areas like Mission Hills and Prairie Village, you're getting newer construction with all the bells and whistles. We're talking 3,500 to 5,000 square feet of meticulously designed space. These homes often feature professional-grade kitchens, spa-like primary bathrooms, and the latest smart home technology. Plus, you're typically in some of the highest-rated school districts in the metro area. Switching over to the Missouri side, your dollar stretches even further with a lot of options from the Northland to the east side on the Missouri side. Square footage will range anywhere from 4,500, 5,500, even above. And you might even find yourself on lots that are a little bit larger, more estate-style lots on the Missouri side. Often you can find yourself saving anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 annually on taxes. And we'll even see that the HOA comes down just a little bit as well, offering the same amount of amenities. We've been stepping it up by $300,000 price increments. I think we need to step it up even a little more. Shift gears. We're pushing that 1 million mark. Why don't we kick it up to almost 2 million and see what we get if we double the price from, we won't go over 2 million, but 2 million. Let's do it. All right, so we'll go back over to the Missouri side. Once again, we will redraw our map here and get that whole Missouri metro. And I'm gonna even go out to Kearney so we can show some of them acreage of properties and come out clear past Grain Valley all the way down. We definitely want to include Loch Lloyd. We might get one of Mahomes' neighbors look in this price range. Go straight up the Missouri-Kansas state line, across the river. We'll include Parkville. There are not a lot, but there are some homes in that price range. And we will raise the ceiling to 2 million and we'll do the floor at, let's say, 1.5. We'll apply that and kind of go through some of these here, just scrolling down, looking for the one. So you can kind of see what we're talking about here. This is a property in Smithville, clearly out on some acreage with a nice outbuilding. You've got this one here, which is down on the Country Club Plaza, an older home, but really a stately. Ooh, looks like a fancy barn dominium out in Pleasant Hill. Clearly on some acreage. It doesn't tell me how much here. This one here in Parkville, Green Glades. This is in the Masters over by Weatherby Lake. At 1.8. Ooh, Independence has a giant house, 7,300 square feet. Wow. Stillwell, Kansas is a really nice area on the south side of Overland Park. Okay, so we did find this one here in the Green Glades, or on Green Glades, in the Masters, which is a really nice area. I'd say the only negative on it is it's kind of in the flight path for the airport, but a fantastic subdivision right near Rugby Lake.
Big estate style lots. In fact, this one, let me see how big the lot is. This is 4 bedrooms, which is kind of surprising for only for 7,300 square feet, but a 4-bedroom, 5.5 bath. This is the story and a half, so you do have bedrooms upstairs, primary suites on the main, and then you're going to have the full basement, finished walkout basement. So 5,400 square feet on the 2 top floors and 1,800 square feet on the lower level.
Yeah, I saw an office that probably doesn't count in their bedroom count, so
maybe a
4 plus an office. So.
This also bumps you up to a 4-car garage, so you get to have your little toy car. You got a spot for that, or maybe your golf cart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, built in 2008, so it does have a little bit of, it's not super contemporary like you're going to see houses built in the 2025 range. So it does have a little, I wouldn't say dated, but you can kind of tell that it's 20 years old looking through the pictures with some of the finishes. Oh, man, the basement's super cool. Look at those stone pillars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I like. When you get into some of these properties that are, like a little bit older like that, like 2008, but they did a lot of custom stuff back and then to still fall in this price point, because you're not going to be able to, that's a lot of square footage for this price. And your taxes are still at $13,000 a year on taxes. We've almost doubled the price.
Ooh, this one has a suspended garage with a basketball
indoor sports court, so you don't need that with your HOA, which is nice because the HOA is only $750, so it's actually bumped down a little bit. And really, the HOA there, you're gonna have some walking trails through the neighborhood, and that's pretty in those ponds.
Well, that's what they're doing with the 4th car.
Oh, that's nice. That's a fun way to cover it up. I like that. Although it still looks like it's probably a Corvette under there.
Yeah, that photographer put his hand on it.
I don't know if that's the photographer. I think it's a car cover.
Oh, it may be.
Yeah, because the wheels are still poking through.
Yeah, it looks like I thought it was a Ferrari or something, but it's just a fancy car cover. Oh, it looks like it has a pool in front of the lakefront. That's really nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Man, how would you like to be sitting there side by side with me having a cocktail?
Hey, it sounds pretty nice.
I mean, or, your wife, but I'd like to join you.
Yeah, either way. Nice outdoor kitchen. We've got the fans. Yeah, this is...
Ooh, hot tub spilling into the pool.
Yeah.
This
looks like fun.
I'm thinking about making a move.
What do you think about us just buying that and moving in together?
Yeah, we can make it our office.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a little stone fire pit. So yeah, there are a lot of bells and whistles, as you put it, that come with this price tag.
They probably should have led with a different photo than the photo they're leading with, because it didn't do it justice.
I know. I think this picture of the back would probably be my recommendation. Look at that.
So yeah, and this is for 1.88.
Look at that water feature that they have back there.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I see a lot of good value in that.
Yeah, that's really nice. I'm going to have to send that over to, I've got a couple of people in mind that might be a good fit for that. One in particular.
Cool. Let's sell it to your friend and then we can hang out there.
Yeah, that's even better. It's like owning a boat. The second best thing to, what's better. I forget the saying. What's better?
Well, I think it's actually better to have friends that have a boat.
Yeah. What's better than owning a boat is when your friend owns a boat. All right. So let's flip it over to the Kansas side.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
See what kind of bang for our buck we get over in good old Kansas. Remove this boundary and draw a new one. We'll just include all the cruise out DeSoto. We'll even include Gardner and Spring Hill and Stillwell. That way we can see the acreage properties south of this river. All right, let's apply that and see what we got here. I actually showed this property you can tell just by looking at the cover photos that 1.7, 1.5 to 2 million doesn't get you the same caliber a home in Kansas as it does. Just under that $2 million mark. This one's in Prairie Village. Same square footage, but the age of the house is going to be dramatically different. What's the square footage on the lot?
The lot is 36,000 square feet, so about the same. I think we were 30 on the Missouri side, so that's pretty similar.
Just shy of an acre, so kind of an estate-sized lot, but not quite an acre.
Total square footage is 6,300 square feet. We are a story and a half again, and we've got 4,800 on the top 2 floors and then 1,400 in the lower level. But yeah, quite a bit older. This is 1983, so
Yeah, we got a little age to it.
Maybe we call that character in the real estate agent business.
Yes, yeah, lots of character. Really nice kitchen, huge island. So you can see that they've gone in there and definitely updated it since the 80s. Beautiful home, really. Nice laundry room. You know, that just homes built in the 80s are going to have even the same floor plan. If it was this one's a story and a half. Yeah, so even technically the same floor plan, they're going to feel a lot different because they're going to be more chopped up and segmented. And you hear that all the time. People say, oh, I want the open concept. And they didn't build them open concept back then. So, you know, each room had its living room, its dining room, its kitchen, and they're all kind of boxed off. So you're kind of noticing that here in these photos.
Yep. And, you know, the ceilings there's no vaults. Pretty.
Right. Yeah. Low ceilings. So it just doesn't feel as open and as spacious as the last home we looked at. But this one really is more about location. Prairie Village is one of the best areas in Kansas City, and it doesn't have all old homes in Prairie Village. People are going in and knocking down some of the really older ones. So the small ranches on really desirable lots, they're leveling those and building $2 million houses on those lots.
Yeah, it definitely has a older vibe to it. Our taxes on this property are right at $11,000 a year, and we've got no HOA, which a lot of times you will see in an older neighborhood.
Yeah, here's a picture of the backyard. You can kind of see, I'm sure this is an objection for a potential buyer, is this giant power line right in the backyard.
That's probably not a picture I would have led with either.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I would have just left that off. You know, and that's another thing you're going to find in an older neighborhood. They don't have the power lines buried like they do in the last one we showed you. And in a newer subdivision, there are no power lines.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of this is location is kind of what they're marketing here on this property. Great school districts. Again, they're Shawnee Mission School District, but totally different homes.
Yeah, bang for your buck wise. I think this one, probably drives the point home the most of all of the ones that we've shown. Is, you know, on the Kansas side, you're really paying to get that location and the area that you're in. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium, a little higher price per square foot, a little bit more for the lot, a little bit more in taxes and HOA dues. And this one illustrates the point the most that we've seen in the video so far. All right, when we hit that $1.5 to $2 million mark, we are entering true estate territory, and the differences between the Kansas and Missouri side become fascinating. On the Kansas side, particularly in prestigious areas like Mission Hills, Old Leawood, and Prairie Village, you're looking at newer luxury estates, typically 4,500 to 5,500 square feet. We used an example of 6,500 square feet, and really pure elegance, but, you know, typically a little bit more age to them. These homes will often feature wine cellars, home theaters, resort-style outdoor living spaces. Sometimes you'll get an infinity pool with outdoor kitchens, and the communities are often gated and offering privacy and exclusivity. So cross over to Missouri and your dollar buys you even more grandeur. We're talking 5,000 to even 7,000 square feet like we had in our example, especially areas like the Northland or the Lee Summit area. We even have some really nice quaint areas near downtown with like the Brookside area on Ward Parkway, where you can also spend a ton of money as well if you want some of that kind of old school colonial style houses with a ton of square footage. But property taxes on average, they can be pretty close, but on the Missouri side, you can find areas where you can save almost up to $5,000 annually. And you're even going to find yourself probably saving a little bit more on the HOAs, especially in the older neighborhoods. But for those of you seeking the absolute pinnacle of luxury living in Kansas City, let's kick it up even more. And let's go to that $3 million price point and show you what you get on either side of the state line. Shall we?
Let's go.
All right, let's dig in here. Let's pull up the map again.
Shift into plaid.
Yeah, plaid mode. I want to include the areas on the outskirts because a lot of times in this range, you're really looking at getting acreage. So we're going to include Platte City. We're going to go up on the north side of Smithville, include Kearney, come over Grain Valley, include Pleasant Hill, and come up right along state line and make sure we get in Parkville.
It's like you're trying to remove brain cancer and you're just kind of going a little bit out past the...
out past the cancer.
Is that the margin?
Yeah, the margin.
Safety margin?
And then we'll go ahead and apply that area, and then we want to kick up to the top of the range.
Kick it up.
Kick it up to
Going into type mode.
3 million. And we'll set the bottom range at like 2. Go ahead and apply that.
Got a handful.
Yeah, quite a few, really. Wow, that one's neat. 2.8. Briar Point. 64116. That's kind of in our neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's right by our office.
I think this is in Briar Cliff. There are some iconic houses in Briar Cliff right along 169 highway that you can see from the highway. This may be one of them.
We are, for $2.8 million, you get 7,600 square feet. Probably the most impressive thing about this property is the view of the Kansas City skyline. It sits up on top of a bluff, looking right into downtown from the north, straight south. We are 5 bedrooms, 4 full baths, 2 half baths. We are 4,600 square feet up and 3,000 square feet finished below with that story and a half. So bedrooms up.
Yeah, there's that view of the skyline. Yeah, this is a really neat property. I didn't even know it was for sale.
This was built in 1989, so a little bit older, but you can tell they've definitely gone through and renovated this one recently, or kept up on it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a piece of art. The architecture kind of has that Frank Lloyd Wright type of feel to it. It's just amazing.
And you know what? Taxes on this bad boy coming in at $13,000 a year, so almost doubling in price, and taxes aren't moving.
Yeah, I will say the school district isn't ideal in that Briar Cliff area. A lot of kids are going to St. Pius. They're going to a private school that's right in that area rather than the North Kansas City School District. That's probably why the taxes are the same as mine, but 3 times is more expensive. But my kids go to a great school, guys, so it's all worth it. Man, what a beautiful house. Look at that sink.
That's fun. Black toilet.
Yeah, contemporary. We haven't shown too many contemporary homes on this little tour we've been on. Contemporary might not be your thing. There aren't a lot of contemporary homes in Kansas City. Looks like they have a golf simulator. That's definitely my style. To keep your movie theater and give me a golf simulator. Little indoor hot tub. We're getting into the fun stuff now. It's like some outdoor sitting areas, nice covered deck on the back with that skyline view. There you go.
Where's the shot?
That should be on the front of the listing. What a beautiful house. And they've done a lot of work to it too. I mean, kind of modernizing it. Definitely a new paint job. A lot of this decking looks like it's been redone. Really nice.
Yeah.
What a fun one. Just shy of 3 million on the Missouri side. Let's flip it over to the Kansas side and see what we've got over there. And if you kind of scroll down through the pictures here, you can see there's a lot of variety in this price range. Usually the $3 million range on the Missouri side is going to be right down here in the Mission Hills area, or it's going to be out on acreage. If it's, out in the suburbs on the outskirts, you don't really see much of it here in the city center, except this one that we happen to show you. Most of it's going to be in old, Mission Hills area. And if you zoom in on the map, you should be able to see that this is just south of the plaza in Westport. Right in this area are a ton of homes in that range. But let's remove the boundary here. Let's zoom out and highlight Kansas. We'll draw the Kansas area here along the river, down state line. We got to be careful not to trim out too much of that because a lot of the homes are going to be in that little area. And let's see what we have. So you can see, again, just like the story with the Missouri side, except for this little pocket right here that's in Missouri, all of the homes in this range are out either on acreage or down here in this Leawood, South Overland Park area. So you can see this one here in Baser, a ton of acreage involved. All right, this one coming in just shy of 3 million, 2.999950, 9,000 square feet. 9,500 square feet. So definitely the biggest home on our tour today. You can see from the pictures, has a tile roof, definitely is nestled in, surrounded by green space.
Yeah, so 6 bedrooms, 5 full baths, 2 half baths. This bad boy's just been on the market 5 days now, so fresh meat. 6,200 square feet above grade, 3,300 below, and again, we're one of those story and a halves. So the primary suite on the main level and other bedrooms up, with that finished walkout basement, 4-car attached garage. And let's look at some of these. Wow, look at the inside of that.
I know, it's insane. It definitely has a craftsman vibe to it. Built in 2008, so it's a little older. Look at this outdoor area. Really cool spot.
Yeah, with all the beams and the wood, it's nice and warm and the travertine.
Yeah, definitely a contrast from that last contemporary one we were looking at. A lot more traditional, huge master bathroom, spiral staircase going down. Yeah, this is like living in a treehouse kind of a mountain style home.
Yeah, makes me think of the mountains. Same price point too.
Yeah, really. Really nice wine cellar, another movie theater, big old basement bar. How many garages do we have on this one?
4-car garage.
4-car garage.
Yep. And we're in the Blue Valley School District, so one of the best school districts in Kansas. So you get that with it. We've got, let's see how our taxes, here's where our taxes take a nosedive.
Ooh, man.
$28,000 a year in taxes. And the HOA is $1,400 a year.
Holy mackerel. So quite a bit different. $2,200 a month in taxes. I think that's most people's house payment. Well, not most people, but some people's house payment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's illustrative of the difference between Northtown High School, where the expectation is that you're probably going to send your kid to private school, and Blue Valley.
Yeah, being in Johnson County. And this does have a pretty good sized lot. We're 0.79 acres. So almost a full acre again, but I think that's about how the other one was as well.
Yeah, can you zoom in on the map and show us the lot?
Kind of a pie shaped, but definitely backs to trees.
Yeah.
I mean, when your house is that big, you have to have almost an acre lot just to hold it, you know?
Yeah, really. Yeah, they're using every bit of that lot. Okay, well, shoot, that's been fun. You know, fair amount of options, no matter what price point you're in. So at the $3 million price range, we've reached the pinnacle of luxury in Kansas City, where every detail is customized and no amenity is overlooked. On the Kansas side, particularly in Mission Hills, you'll find magnificent estates ranging from 8,000 to 12,000 square feet. And these homes are architectural masterpieces with every imaginable luxury. From elevator access to all floors, to full spa facilities, to professional grade indoor basketball courts, and the technology integration is cutting edge with whole home automation systems controlling everything from security to climate and even entertainment. In Missouri, particularly in the historic areas like around the plaza or the exclusive areas like Loch Lloyd community, you're gonna find $3 million offers you even more grandeur. Estates can reach all the way up to 15,000 square feet. That's pretty some biggins.
You might find a majestically restored historic mansion that has a separate guest quarters, or you might find a modern house sitting on a lake, maybe with some acreage. The property tax savings at this level is dramatic, often $15,000 or more when you compare it to Kansas. These properties often sit on multiple acres, offering unparalleled privacy and space for entertaining on a grand scale.
So whether you're looking for a starter home or a luxury estate, understanding these key differences between Kansas and Missouri can save you thousands while helping you find the perfect property for your lifestyle. Are you ready to explore your options? Our contact information is in the description below.
Are you ready to learn more about living in Kansas City? Then click on your screen now for a video titled What They Don't Tell You About Living in Kansas City, and we'll see you over there.
We'll see you there.